Hi everyone, I'm Francoise Lamotte with my co-host Dominik for our Digital Edge podcast. Today we decided to have a special edition following the Customer Electronic Show of Las Vegas. It just ended a few days ago and we picked a dozen of interesting facts that we would like to share with you. Shall we get started, Dominik?
Yeah, sounds good. Looking forward to what we have here. I mean, unfortunately, we couldn't be there in person, but there was a lot of buzz around the web about what's been going on and some of the trends in the consumer electronics space this year. So very cool stuff around.
Okay. So maybe just starting with figures, I think this was a good addition, almost 150,000 attendees, more than 4,000 exhibitors, and a lot of media coverage. So I think that was quite a success. So let's dive into our findings, and I will start. I picked NVIDIA Rubin, the new platform that was heavily advertised. I'm not going to go into the technicalities of what it is, but I think for me, the good news was on the efficiency and the cost efficiency and the calculation, computation efficiency that this platform is going to bring. And I think that, in the world of AI, that's definitely what we need to look for, being able to deploy high calculation capabilities with less consumption of water and electricity. So I think this is going in the right direction. Would you agree?
Yes, going super fast. I think it's really fascinating to see how compute is advancing. Like you see like a huge step up, like at least once a year, right? And NVIDIA is leading the charge here. Yeah. Very awesome.
So let's move to number 2. I also picked this one. I mean, not this one in particular, but I think one of the big trends was obviously robotics.
Lots of robots around, right?
Yeah. And we see more and more human-like robots that, whether it's about, movement, it's about touch, it's about, I saw one where the skin looks almost human. So I think there is still a lot of development in that space, and we see incredible progress year after year. You also picked a robot, but a different shape.
So. Yes, they come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, right? And I think this one, whereas the humanoids are a little bit on the, and the early stages, right? We're not quite there yet where we can get our personal humanoid and help us cook meals and fold our laundry. This is one that I found really interesting because it's still not on the market, but it might come to market. A lot of people have these autonomous vacuums, right, that can go around and vacuum an entire floor. This is one, right, that solves the challenge of stairs in a home, and they can actually go up and down stairs. So I thought that was super awesome, practical. We'll see what the price tag is going to be, but this may be something that solves this multi-floor home challenge with cleaning, right? We can do all that on its own. Neat stuff.
I would probably buy it when it's affordable.
Yes.
So moving on, you also picked this one.
Yeah, I saw this one that was announced like early on, and I looked into it and I immediately purchased it because I was looking for a smart lock for my home. I haven't installed it yet, but this seems like a good modern refresh with current integration technology that fits into my home automation environment with the Apple Home, which it will be compatible with. So looking forward to get that installed and getting to use that.
Okay, cool. So, I think if we look at some of the areas in CES, is definitely mobility. There is a huge area, a huge space dedicated to cars, and a lot of it has to do with embarked technology and AI within the car. I like this one. I think some people actually drove around Las Vegas in the Zoox Robotaxi. So it's basically an autonomous vehicle for 4 people. that take them wherever they want. So I think this is becoming a reality. So I like that one. So next one, I think we both picked something similar. So maybe I'm going to show both slides. This is the one that you picked, and this is the one that I picked. I think that's another trend of exoskeleton and technology enhancing the body in terms of lifting weight and removing some strain. And I mean, I think those are two examples where we are moving away from the very bulky and heavy things we had a few years back to something much more manageable.
Yeah, I think these are very interesting, right? This hypershell particularly seems to be targeted at the consumer level, right? I think there's some configurations that are around $2,000 per exoskeleton, right? And I think, of course, not for everyone, right? But I think there's like this transition from previously more industrial target of exoskeletons for jobs where people are carrying items every day, heavy things, right? Where of course it's more expensive with a smaller footprint. But now all of a sudden, like if you look at this, right, just a brace that fits over the knee, and you can compensate for that. You can, I don't know if people would go hiking with this or climbing or whatever they do, right? Or running perhaps, or maybe recover from an injury, right? Where you can put this on instead of waiting longer before you can move again. I think it's really fascinating, right? That this is getting into the price range of anybody being able to acquire a device like that almost.
Yeah. And to follow up on that, I picked, two devices that are a bit different, but it's in the space of healthcare. More and more people want to be able to, I wouldn't say self-diagnose, but at least monitor their health metrics. So on the left side, you have within scale. They can take up to 60 body measures in 90 seconds. And on the other side, sorry, it was a bit funny, but it's a smart toilet. So basically, it's an at-home device that is actually sampling and checking some data in urine. So it's everywhere. But I think
a lab in the toilet.
Yeah. But I think these are just two examples of a vast trend of people being health conscious and wanting devices to monitor their food intake, their body measures, whether it's through smartwatches or rings or other devices. So I think that was also quite big in Las Vegas.
Yeah, to add on to that, I didn't call it out, but I saw some devices where companies developed next generation devices for monitoring pet health, particularly for dogs, where there's a dog collar that you can put on your dog, and then it measures its vitals and its health through that. Yeah. And I think it's another expansion of the wristwatches that we've had and other devices for human consumption, and now trending more towards pets as well. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that they're healthy and safe as well.
So I also picked the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, not because I think the technology has reached its maximum stage. I think there's still a lot of under development, but it's coming up with new feature where the glasses can actually read what you write with your finger. You don't even need a pen or a paper. Many companies have been working on smart glasses for a while, and I'm not sure we are there yet in terms of usability and customer adoption, but it's an ongoing topic. So I decided to put it there.
Yeah, the first thing that always comes to my mind when I see smart glasses and reading the environment is the privacy concerns. But I think that's still yet to be considered and addressed, what's fair use and what may not be appropriate. So, but yeah, fascinating technology, right? How it's shrunk into this basically regular sized glasses frame. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
So we are actually this one we both picked up this one, but maybe I'll skim through the other slides because there were a lot of in terms of screens and being thinner and flexible. So I'll let you walk us through those.
Yeah, I think, again, the displays, even large ones, are nothing new by any means, right? But I think this one stood out. The LG display that's only about 6 millimeters thick across, right? You could really just attach it to the wall. It's much lighter weight than the traditional ones, right? We need to have huge brackets and so forth. Huge advancement in technology, right, to shrink that down. This one here, this Dell monitor that was released, I think this is something very practical and very, very neat, right? This is a 52-inch monitor. It's huge. A lot of people have gone and adopted the 49-inch size, but what's special about this is that the pixel density is much greater than some of the other 50-inch range monitors, right? So you can really get into very fine detail with this. So cool device. And this one might be one of my favorites, where you have like a laptop display with a flexible display, like a foil, that when you open up, you can expand it from a 16-inch, like the size of the keyboard or the base, to 24 inches rolled out. I mean, if you want to go look at the video on YouTube of how this works, it's very, very cool. The screen does look a little bit like rippled because it rolls up right on the side, but it's nonetheless very neat technology and setup. We'll see if that catches on with people.
Yeah.
And I think this one, the creaseless foldable display, is also really nice. And we've been hearing about foldable portable devices, right? We have our mobile devices, which have already pretty large screens, and Samsung has had a device that's foldable, and I think we'll see more of those in the future. Now it's apparently possible to do it without a crease, so you don't even see that little fold in the display, right? Which I thought would never be possible, but it looks like they pulled it off.
Yeah, so I think maybe this is the end of tablets. If phones can have a big screen, because we're always, do I need a phone? Do I need a tablet? Do I need a laptop? Usually you have three, but it would be good if it
could very well be.
Yeah. You went into the game space as well.
Yes, that's interesting. And I was looking at that, right? It made some headlines that Lego had this smart play technology. And what it does, like, you can get these new Lego sets like later this year, where you get one of these smart bricks that has like smart functionality, and also some of the figures that interact with it, and they can make play more interacting for those who are building the sets and play with them. And I think this is fascinating, right? Because we've made typically the leap from traditional hands-on games and play to completely digital play, right? And this is I think an interesting hybrid that Lego, of course, as part of their product line, looks to stay relevant with not only many different kinds of sets, but also bringing in more interactivity to their play sets. And I'm looking forward to see how that works in the real world when it comes out.
But it's smart innovation.
Yes, exactly. It's one of those things where digital technology is being used to enhance an existing traditional product, right? And I think there's just so much opportunity just to do a little bit like this to make a product potentially much better and much more interesting to the user than in a traditional sense, or maybe just eliminating it physically outright, right? This in the middle, I think there's a lot of ground to be discovered as we go here.
And last but not least, there is this new generation of energy. You want to walk us through this? Right?
Yeah, this is interesting, right? Because I was expecting that most of the best of show was around consumer electronics, and this, in my mind, didn't quite fit the consumer electronics bucket, right? But it was nonetheless listed as a technology. And again, I don't know exactly how it's been deployed, but supposedly it can generate the same amount of electricity as a traditional windmill, like the upright ones with the big, big propeller on it, right? But this requires about half the amount of equipment than the traditional ones do. You know, so I thought, again, right, great innovation, people looking at solving problems in a different way, not just being stuck with the known, what's always been done, and really looking at like, hey, how can we harness that wind energy in a new way with a smaller footprint and probably at a lower cost as well.
Yeah, and this is a huge space in terms of innovation. There are also models of turbines in water, in the sea, and trying to be less invasive maybe than the big wind mills, as you mentioned.
Yeah, that makes total sense, right? Of like, how can we harness energy at the least effort?
Yeah. So we've gone through our 15 examples of items that were showcased at CES this year. I think it's a good overview of the different fields of activity, whether it's robotics, display device, infrastructure, health, mobility, energy, alternative energy. I think there is a lot going on, and it will be interesting to see how many of those actually come to market.
Yes, so it is. So it is, yeah.
Thank you so much, Dominik, and talk to you soon.
Thank you, Francoise. Bye, everyone. See you next time.